What's up, you guys? I'm going to do a video today on green smoothies. I just recently did a video on just dips, so this one's going to be on smoothies for beginners. And pardon me if I'm not looking at the camera the whole time I'm driving. So, killing two birds with one stone. So, let's get started. The first thing you will need in order to make your smoothies is going to be a juicer. I'm sorry, a blender. And you don't need a fancy blender to get started. You just need something that's going to get the job done. And so you can get something basic, even something as simple as like a Hamilton Beach. You can get a $39 blender from Walmart. It doesn't have to be fancy Blendtec or Vitamix. Initially, I started off with an old blender that I've had for a few years that probably cost me about 35 to 40 bucks. And it did get the job done for the most part. I recently upgraded to a Vitamix that I ordered from QVC. You can get them on QVC via EasyPay. I think I caught it on sale and it was like 5 payments of 75 or 80 bucks or something like that. Blendtec is also a good one that you can get on QVC. But a basic blender works great. Keep in mind with the cheaper blenders, the main difference will be your seeds and ice will not blend as well, which means your smoothies won't be as smooth, but they'll still be fine. I just found the difference once I started using the Vitamix was that since everything was blended better, my smoothies tasted better because, I don't know what, I think more of the flavor was coming out of the ingredients, and my leafy greens blended much better. And things like ginger and celery are going to blend better in like a Vitamix or a Blendtec, but you don't need one of those. So just any kind of blender is great to start, because when you start, you're not going to be using fancy ingredients. So once you have your blender situated, then you're going to want to get some basic ingredients. And smoothie recipes can be difficult, but I go by one main rule of thumb, and it generally always produces a delicious smoothie. And that is to do a leafy green, such as spinach or kale, or lettuce, and to do a strong fruit with a strong flavor, something like blueberries, mangoes, pineapples, or even orange, an orange. And combine that with either water or coconut water, and you're gonna have a great smoothie. Those are just some basic ingredients. I always add extras, but you don't have to. So to get started, some basic ingredients, you don't need a lot. And you can take some of the ingredients that I list and, get more than one of each type of ingredient in order to have some variety. So I always start off with a leafy green vegetable, something such as spinach, kale, and you can use baby spinach, or you can use the regular, I don't know what you call it, the spinach that comes in a bunch. I started off using baby spinach, and then I graduated into the spinach that comes in a bunch. Like I said, kale, and I use all types of kale. There are a few different types of kale. Any one of them is fine. You can use chard. Let's see what else is good. I don't necessarily like to put dandelion greens in my smoothies. I just do that for juice, but that's something that you can add onto the list. And like I said, lettuce, green leaf lettuce is also good. So those are some greens that you can use for your smoothies. And then the next ingredient is going to be your fruit. You always want to make sure you use more greens than fruit. But some fruits that I recommend are pineapples, blueberries, oranges, mango. You can use peaches, grapes, apple. It's not that strong, but it's still a good ingredient. And strawberries. So your stronger fruits, the fruits that have the stronger flavors, are going to be the pineapples, blueberries, and mangoes, and oranges for me. At least that's what I think. You don't need to use as much of the fruit in order to get the flavor. Another ingredient you are going to want to make sure you have on hand is cold water. It's very hard to start off making smoothies and having them be room temperature. I find it hard to choke them down that way. the colder they are, the easier they are to get down and to get adjusted to the flavor. So cold water, great to start off with. Coconut water if you can, and you always want to make sure you look for raw, unpasteurized coconut water. It's hard to find, but I'm able to find it at Whole Foods. So what I do is I mix some of the coconut water along with some cold water so that the coconut water lasts longer. And then if you want to, you can also add some superfoods, which would be flaxseed or chia seed. I don't recommend spirulina to start off. I'll talk about the other ingredients in another video, but those are some good things to start off with. You can add goji berries. Those are delicious to add into your smoothies, and they're really, really good for you. And if you want to make the smoothie a protein smoothie, you can always add a scoop of your favorite protein. I use Vega vanilla protein. It makes everything taste better. I mean, really, really good. It's delicious. And it's all plant-based, so it's good for you. It's not going to make you die or anything. And it has a good amount of protein in it. So that's something that you can consider as well. But you don't need a lot of ingredients for your smoothies. If you like herbs, you can add herbs. My favorite herbs to add into my smoothies now are mint, parsley, and basil. So those are my favorite herbs to add in. The cilantro, I like some smoothies with cilantro, but not that many. So it's not one of my favorite herbs to add into my smoothies or soy juices. And I think that's it. You can do ginger, but it's hard to blend ginger when you don't have one of the really heavy duty blenders. So my suggestion for smoothies, you also want to invest in glass jars, mason jars, or glass cups and straws. Much easier to drink from a straw, and much easier and better for you to drink out of glass. So, because glass isn't going to transfer any bad stuff into your drink, and it keeps it colder. And I just think everything tastes better out of glass. Everything. So those are some good things to invest in. You can also make your smoothies in advance and store them in glass containers. And when I store mine in the freezer, what I do is I will take them out of the freezer about an hour or so before I want to drink them. And I take them out of the freezer, let it sit, and then after about an hour, then I just dump everything into the blender and blend it. And what that does is it makes everything smooth again, so it's easy to drink again. And tips as far as actually making the smoothies: don't make a lot at once. Start off with small quantities, because as I mentioned in the juicing video, you need to get your taste buds activated to flavors, because if you are not eating healthy and you're not accustomed to eating these types of things, it may be difficult to choke it down, especially with the green smoothie. And you always want to use more vegetables than fruit. But when you initially get started, it may be easier for you to start and to continue if you add equal amounts of fruit and vegetables, or a little more fruit than vegetables. It's not going to kill you. Fruits are still good for you. I don't care what anybody says about, oh, it's too much sugar. It was put here for us to eat. People who eat raw eat tons of fruit, and they're the healthiest people on this earth. So it's okay to have a little more fruit and vegetables, and it's going to keep you drinking your smoothies. It's still good for you. So if that's what you need to do to keep drinking, do it. But then transition to adding more vegetables and fruits later. Because we're more inclined to eat fruit during the day than we are to eat vegetables. So what you want to do is make sure you keep those vegetables in, and it's easier to get them in the smoothie than it is to shove them down your throat throughout the day and just randomly. So make sure to transition to more vegetables and fruit. Try to do at least one smoothie a day. You're going to notice a difference if you do that. I find it's a lot easier to either do them first thing in the morning or in the evenings, because most of us work during the day. So if you do it first thing in the morning, it's going to be in your mind, and you do it before you start your day. Or it may be easier for you to do it in the evenings after you've wound down, you're home, you're done with work, and you're relaxing. You just make a quick smoothie. Make sure you clean all of your ingredients thoroughly. I use a vegetable wash or rose wash, and then scrub them down with cold water. Make sure they're clean thoroughly before you put them in your blender. Make sure if you have ingredients that need to be chopped up, chop them up really well before you put them in your blender if you don't have a heavy duty blender, because you don't want to jack up your blender. If you need your smoothie to be cold or icy and you don't freeze your fruits and vegetables, then what you want to do is use ice. But if you use ice, you want to make sure you use less water, less liquid, because that ice, once it's blended, it's going to take on the form of liquid. So you don't want to have a smoothie that's too watery or, watered down flavors. I also think a good idea is freezing your fruits. I used to buy my fruits already frozen, which I still do with my blueberries. I buy my blueberries still already frozen, and I get it from Sprouts or Whole Foods. At Sprouts, you can get a giant bag for, I think, $10. But now what I do with my pineapples, my strawberries, mangoes, I buy them fresh from the farmer's market or from Sprouts, and then I cut them myself. I'm sorry, getting over. I chop them up myself, and then I put them in individual bags and freeze them. It's a lot cheaper to do it that way than to buy them already frozen, but it may be more convenient for you to buy it already frozen. And that for me makes my smoothies better. I don't have to add ice because I like mine really cold. And it makes it easier for me to make my smoothies to use my fruits frozen. My leafy greens, I don't freeze. My herbs, I don't freeze, just my fruits. And that makes a perfect blend. So, what else? I also add powders into my smoothies, like burdock root powder, beetroot powder, and other ingredients, but I'll talk about those at another time. That's getting too deep into the more advanced smoothie making. These are just tips for beginners. Buy your produce weekly. Much easier to do that than to try to, buy stuff every day or to buy it in bulk. Buy it weekly. If you're freezing stuff, then yeah, you can get it in bulk if you're freezing it. I believe that's it though. So hopefully that was helpful. If you guys have any questions, leave them below, and then I'll try to maybe do another video